Okay, Dean, how you doing? All right, I've got your work up here. Got the ad up in a separate page. I'm just going through your writing again to make sure I'm not missing anything. So good job writing this detailed description of your experience with the assignment. I think that's really a great practice. It really helps your instructors to determine where you're at and take a look at your approach and just determine your level of proficiency, not only in execution but also in planning and development. So you've got some really good ideas here. I mean, you're understanding what's going on here in terms of this ad and its relationship to the campaign as a whole, and its relationship to the potential viewers. So I think that's pretty impressive stuff right there. Okay, talking about colors, talking about attention, minimal design, absolutely. Okay, the angles, I'm going to talk about the angles in a second, but all right, yes. All right, let's go ahead and jump. I've got the ad open right here, and I just need to reduce the size of this just a touch so we can fit it in the screen, and that is perfect. Okay, I think it's a good ad. I do. I think it's perfectly functional. There's no question. I mean, it works. Um, good good placement of the headline. I think if anything, I think honestly the headline might be 2 or 3 points too small. Try 2 points. Right now it's, let's see, this is 8.5 by 11. I would say this is probably a 14, 15, 16 on the type size. Maybe, well, just try increasing it just a little bit. Watch my cursor. Something like this. And you also might consider adding a little color. Try adding the purple from the logo and see how it feels. It might be a little too much. You could also do, there's a couple of tricks that you can do. You could try sampling color out of the images. Okay, so if that purple proves to be a little too harsh, maybe take a little bit of purple out of the sky over here. Just determine, so play with color for the headline, see how that works for you. Um, it's by no means bad. It's not advancing in the composition, though it is pure white. Pure white usually tends to advance in a composition, specifically when viewed with imagery. But the image it's residing upon has a lot of these reflections, and a lot of these are pure white. So it's kind of evening the depth of field a little bit. So it's really precluding the advancement of this pure white in a typographic sense. So just a little bit bigger there. And I think that will really clean up the top of the page. Right now, the spatial relationship between the size of the headline and the size of the document, I think, is a little bit looking towards the headline. Could use a point or two increase in scale. Good job on your images. You've maintained detail in the shadow and highlight areas. That's really fantastic. That's what image adjustment is all about. Watch those shadows and highlights. If you adjust an image, you look at the highlight area, the white areas, and you see pure white, no detail, try pumping that contrast up a little bit. See if there is indeed detail in the area I'm speaking of, and then try to adjust that. Now, quite often this entails employing masking techniques along with image adjustment, which is a fantastic technique. Okay, this image is adjusted beautifully too, so I'm really impressed. So is this. So you're really doing a good job with image adjustment there. As far as layout, typography looks good too. You've got something unusual here that typically I would say, okay, we really need to address this. But it seems to work in this little typographic composition that you have. What I'm talking about is you've got center alignment here. And this little piece right here is right aligned. This is left aligned. Then you're back to center down here. But you've made it work. So it's balanced. It works. So I'm fine with the typography. If one thing I would recommend is taking this logo a little bit, and right now, based on optical relationships, it appears as though the logo is shifted a little bit to the right over here. And again, it's just these optical relationships that are creating this visual, this kind of illusion that this is residing further to the right than it actually is. It happens all the time. So a lot of times when something looks like it's perfectly center alignment, some elements aren't My suggestion here is to take this logo, bump it to the left, pixel by pixel, until it really feels even. It's only going to take a couple pixels, maybe 2 or 3 tops, but try it and you'll see what I mean. And then I would take this whole configuration, move it, just give a little space right there, and then a little space there between the address and the logo. You want to keep things away from, let that logo have plenty of breathing room, and that really is pointing to branding, when what we call a safe, clear distance from any given logo in a branding style guide, which ours doesn't have, but you'll see that quite regularly. Okay, so it looks like you've got Arial bold italic, Arial regular, excellent. I love this little typographic composition out here. It's working very well. A couple of areas I want you to be careful with. The angles. Angles are not, I don't remember, how did you word it with the angles? You said, where's your post? Here it is. Simple design along with the angles make the page more interesting and keep the reader's attention. I want to address that because sometimes that can really backfire. Angles can be extremely, extremely uncomfortable to a viewer, and it's all based on a negative space that's associated with any shape or counter form or counter space, and that means the space that surrounds any given design element. So the angles here, they seem to work. I mean, I don't see a warrant in changing it at all. I think it's an effective ad. Therefore, sometimes these different angles and conflicting angles cause an uncomfortable visual stress in any given composition. But it seems to work all right here. It's not too bad at all. I think you made it work, and that's cool. One thing I would recommend is this. I would pull this up and reside behind here so that there's no little white sliver. And the reason I say that is because I am going to suggest that you place a very, very, very low value hue in this white area right here. It's just too stark. It's just too stark. We work a little bit of color in that. And again, try this. Go around there with your eyedropper. Select color, different color from all of the images. Try placing it in there. And you really want to reduce that opacity. You don't want this to be full, full value in hue saturation. You don't want those values to be full at all. You want this to be a screened back, very, very, very subtle color change right there. But I don't want it to creep up along that little sliver between these two images because that will definitely be odd. But so you want these two images to actually butt right up against each other and then work with some very, very light placement of a color field right behind that typography. All right, other than that, you're fantastic. Really good job. Really good job. So you want to make any changes and resubmit, I'll be glad to make comments. Or go ahead and make these changes working into your final magazine ad. And don't wait. Make these changes now because quite often changing this first piece in a campaign is going to really direct the subsequent pieces in that campaign. So any changes you made here quite feasibly could be reflected in the banner ad. So make changes here first, then move to the banner ad. All right, fantastic. Any questions at all, please let me know. Thanks so much.